Hello everybody, thanks for joining us here at ANZ Stadium at Homebush on a mild Sydney March afternoon. The Bulldogs and the Knights to kick it off first time around in 2010 on Super Saturday. Not a bad crowd coming in, plenty of Bulldogs fans hoping their side can build on what they showed last season. Of course, they were within one game of the grand final and they ran into that Parramatta juggernaut in the prelim final right here in front of almost a full house at ANZ Stadium. 12 months have been and gone since they came here with no expectations on the team's shoulders, of course, but we know what happened last year. The other side of the coin, of course, the Newcastle Knights have had a wretched off-season. 2 players resigning due to drugs charges. They have a host of stars missing for this game as well. And here's their backline first up tonight with Shannon McDonald taking the place of Kurt Gidley. He'll be there for the next 2 or 3 weeks at least, you would imagine. Uarte, Sau, Nguama comes in for Adam McDougall. Cooper Vuna is on the wing. Mullen and Duro will be the first half's combination for the Knights in 2010. Their forward pack, Ben Cross returns from a long-term injury. Hilda is the hooker. Tuamavave is the signing from the Warriors. Steve Simpson, the captain and back rower, along with Corey Patterson and Mark Tafua, a front rower, will start the season at lock forward for Rick Stone. Their bench looks this way with Nadira, Tola, Fa'oso and Zeb Taylor as well.
Yeah, Newcastle, they've had well-documented dramas in the pre-season, but they can't afford to leave the talk and the passion in the sheds. They have to set their standards early in this game, which will hold them in good stead for the rest of the year. You can see them just breaking up in their little groups, how they'll defend the middle, the right edge, the left edge, as we move into the Bulldogs dressing shed. This team has been together for 12 months, and this is the way that they'll line up. Patton at the back of the field, the new recruit Steve Turner on the right wing, and Heka Nenai will fill in the left wing for Bryson Goodwin. In the centres, Morris and Idris, and the halves, Roberts and Brett Kamali. It's a hard-working forward pack. Up front, leading the way, Benny Hennett, along with Michael Hodgson. The hooker is Michael Innes, and a back row of Gordon, Andrew Ryan and David Stagg. They'll get plenty of use off the interchange bench tonight. Payer, Warburton, Hickey and Ben Barber. And Kevin Moore is their coach. And the big thing about the Bulldogs is their focus needs to be about 2010. They need to forget about their successful season of 2009. They have to earn respect off the opposition teams, and they do that by playing good, tough, attractive football.
They are a very solid-looking outfit right across the park, of course, with the number 7 there, Brett Kamali, the now 33-year-old in what is the last season of his contract. We'll wait and see if he goes around again beyond this year. But for the moment, let's go downstairs to Stuart Raper. And speaking of Brett Kamali, Stuart, his kicking might really trouble the back three for Newcastle here this afternoon.
Well, exactly right. Brett Kamali and Mick Ennis have probably got the 2 best flat kicking games at the line. And they'll be turning around the back three of the Knights as much as they possibly can. There's a bit of a breeze coming across the field. I'm sure both Brett and Mick Ennis will be looking to work to the left, kicking to the right, turning around and putting this back three and the whole Newcastle Knight under pressure. A lot of people are saying, whose it's going to be? It could be the year of the dog. They've got an impressive lineup. They've recruited well, and I think they're going to win tonight.
We'll wait and see if it turns out that way. Beware the wounded Newcastle Knights, though, with absolutely nothing to lose as they hit ANZ Stadium. The last time they were here, of course, it was the elimination final week in week 1 of last year's playoff series. They went down 26-12. They had injuries on that occasion. They have injuries depleting their side coming here again tonight. Yeah,
and Steve Simpson is their skipper tonight. He's a player that other players respect. They love having him out there. They love him for his toughness, his no-nonsense approach. You know, he just plays it in the right manner. And you don't have to worry about him because he just prepares the same way for every game, regardless of a grand final, the first round of a competition. You know what you're going to get from Steve Simpson.
The Bulldogs come down the tunnel. Bit of a smile on the face of Ben Hannett. He is ready to pick up where he left off in a stellar 2009 season. He became an Australian front rower. What a tour he had, of course, in the Four Nations tour at the end of the season. They were tough to beat here last year. They won 12 of 14 games at ANZ. It was only Parramatta, in fact, who were able to beat them. They did that twice at this venue in round 20 and, of course, again in the preliminary final where they beat the Dogs 22 points to 12. Luke Patton, the custodian, at the back as ever, ready for action again tonight.
Mr. Consistent, Luke Patton. His football gets better with age. Last year he had a massive influence on this Bulldog side. He went through the troubles of 2008, yet in 2009 played some of his best football. A very good member and good support player of this Bulldogs team. Look for him to be supporting the big forwards in the middle of the ruck as the Knights, they form a huddle. We spoke about passion and aggressive nature to start this game. I'm sure they would have spoken about their start. They cannot leave it in the shed.
We know about Danny Winks and Chris Houston, but you add in names like Kurt Gidley, James McManus, Adam McDougall, Isaac de Goyce, their starting hooker, of course, and they are a depleted side. You add all those names up, 6 of their 17 that would have been on the field had everything turned out as Rick Stone was hoping during the pre-season, of course. Missing tonight. Bernard Sutton is one of our referees, along with Jason Robinson, will be in charge to open up the first 10 or so minutes and the last 10 or so minutes of the first half.
Please join me in standing and recognising in minute silence, ladies and gentlemen, in memory of Mario.
We just pause for a moment's silence here to remember the late Mari Moore, of course, who passed away recently.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, after some turbulent times, the Bulldogs have once again become the family club. It has been a sad time recently for the Moore family, quite obviously. The son of Mari, Kevin, the coach of this NRL side, who did such a great job in 2009. Can they pick it up from where they left off? Jamal Idris ready for action. Likewise, the Newcastle Knights, Mark Tafua and company, ready for the kickoff here at ANZ. It is Michael Ennis who supplies it. It will go down to the halfback. Scott Giro to make the catch. He gives it to Tuamavave, who is met solidly by Hannington Hodgson. Here's Hilda in dummy half, getting the job today. He spent plenty of time there in the past, filling in at both the Sharks and also the Newcastle Knights as the dummy half. And Ben Cross disposes with Ben Hannant. What a carry in his first touch for 2010.
What about that? What about that from Ben Cross? Just charges in. We spoke about a safety first approach, but that's not him.
Forget safety first. He knocked himself out a couple of weeks ago in a trial. Oh, and now Simpson. He got taken to ground, and a good shot there by Ennis. A bit of feeling in this one to open up at ANZ. The kick goes down to Patton, who takes it 5 metres out from his own line. He tracks across the field, runs away from Corey Patterson, gives it off to Idris, and on his coattails, Sound couldn't pull him down. He got it back to Steve Turner, who takes it inside the Newcastle 30. What a return by the Bulldogs. Kamali, they go wide. Roberts goes past Andrew Ryan. Josh Morris's pass is a terrible one for Hekananai.
Poor pass from Josh Morris, but I love the way that the Bulldogs get into their attacking structure so quickly. They set the standard in the first set of 6, the way they move forward aggressively off their line. Luke Patton getting the football on the full, linking up with Jamal Idris, and Idris down the sideline looking to push away from Junior Sau. passing the football back on the inside to Steve Turner. The cover was there, but they looked to link straight away, the Bulldogs. Lovely work, Morris. Unfortunately, was put under pressure from Uarte. Needed to probably hold the football or have a little bit more depth. But it's a very impressive start from the Bulldogs.
What an impressive start to this season from all the clubs we've seen so far. This season is only 2 games and 2 minutes old. But after what we saw last night, and what the Bulldogs have just shown in their first possession of the season, boy, we're in for a treat this year. The Knights work it away from their own 30. And they'll play it there through Uarte. It was playing alongside Wes Nguama on that right-hand side of the field. Of course, Nguama into the side for Anna McDougall. Here's Cross again, bringing it back to almost the halfway line and getting a penalty.
You fell off and then you came back on after it was complete.
The referee's going to be very tough this season, Laurie, in regards to the play of the ball and players making second efforts, bear hugs, anything to try and slow down the play of the ball. They're going to be tough on.
Oh, I think it's good. I think the more football we see, the better. If you have quicker play the balls, it'll allow for more football to be played. And Ben Cross, his 3rd carry of the game.
He's just outside the 20 of the Dogs when he plays it. Giroux comes out the back. It goes to Mullen, who found Corey Patterson cutting back on the angle. He'll play at midfield just outside the 10 of the Dogs. Here's Hilda going back to the right-hand side, giving it to Tuamavave. They keep it alive to Simpson. Good work by Josh Morris and also Ben Roberts to hold him up. He's only a couple of metres away. Hilda comes back for Giroux. Here's Mullen once again. They're fanned to the left-hand side. The halfback, or rather 5'8", takes it to the line before he gave it off for Patterson once again. Once again, they stop him short. Oh, juggle. Good catch in the end by Ivan Tuamavave. Last play for Newcastle. Hilda looking one way, coming back the other. Mullen will chip it towards the corner. A chance for Cooper Vuna to fly above them. But he knock it on. Idris takes it across the dead ball line.
Tackle, last tackle. Check for obstruction here, please, mate, on the kick.
We're just going to see a video referee referral from Jason Robinson for not a scoring situation, but an obstruction, a blocking play, I think, by one of the defenders.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this before. I don't think the referee who's called for the video ref to intervene on an obstruction play, I think he might be hedging his bets here just to see who it actually comes off and goes dead in goal. They're fanned wide, the Newcastle attack. It's 2-on-1. Vuna and Sau up against Stevie Turner. Jamal Idris moves off his line. He makes some contact with Jared Mullen, but I think that's okay. And if that's all he's looking at, this should be play on.
Yeah, this will be knock on against the Knights, you'd imagine. I mean, Idris is there, they get tangled up, but he is going in the direction of the ball. You can make a case that he was getting back there to make a play on the ball, and as a result, I think we'll see the Bulldogs bring it back out to their own 20.
Have you seen that happen before?
Well, no, I think Jason Robinson might have wound back the clock a number of seasons to when we were going upstairs for all manner of things. It will be a no try. And, well, contrary to what we thought, it is going to be a penalty against the Bulldogs for obstruction or blocking, if you like, by Jamal Idris.
Sorry. It's their penalty.
No, it's a Bulldog.
They've taken Jabal out. One of your guys taken him out. Yeah.
Well, he pointed the other way towards Newcastle initially.
Well, they're saying that Mullen has taken out Idris.
Okay. Well, that's a much better conclusion. Because it hadn't gone Newcastle's way, it was going to be an injustice for the Canterbury Bulldogs. They have the ball in hand. And they'll work it forward through Michael Hodgson. He plays it for Ennis. To Hannon. Saw didn't get a great pass from Ennis at dummy half, and he was in trouble trying to hang on to it. And as a result, Newcastle have it through Cross, and they also have a penalty.
Second time Ben Cross has earned his team
that's where you got the
penalty. I think they're really working Ben Cross over because he has got second face. They don't want to get into second face play with this Newcastle team. Cross can start it for Newcastle. That's why the importance is placed on the arm carrying the football. They're trying to slow him up.
Mark Tafua carries it towards the Bulldogs 10. 4.5 gone. No score here at ANZ. Hilda comes to Patterson. He runs at Kamali and puts those big forearm bumpers up and really rocked the halfback's head back. Hilda to Cross, charging hard and straight. Hadn't made a good stop this time. Here's Duro giving it to Sal, stepping away from Idris. Kept it alive for Patterson, who in turn gives it off for Cooper Vuna. He runs a long way across the field, still going, looking for Simpson. Had he gave it to him, Simpson might have been something to stop. Hilda to Mullen, coming back towards the middle himself now. They're going sideways on consecutive plays with not much happening for them. A couple left in this set of 6. Hilda out of dummy half. He copped one right across the beak, I think you might find. Michael Hodgson was around the legs and Michael Ennis might have been over the top. And he's not that good getting back to his feet here, Matt Hilda.
No, there was some contact there from Michael Ennis. And I think that the referee has been tipped off. No, he hasn't. They're going to play on.
Hold there, it'll be tackle 5. Marker up there.
Well, unless it's deemed serious enough to be placed on report, the referee can't penalise it. Obviously, the advice from video ref Sean Hampstead is it wasn't serious enough. I take issue with that. Here's the kick from Duro for Vuna, who flew above them and put it down. And Newcastle will play from in front here tonight.
It's not the first time they've kicked to this side of the field, trying to isolate Steve Turner with a kick. And Cooper Vuna just leaps above him on this occasion. And the Newcastle Knights, they wanted to start in the best possible fashion. They needed to score points early, and they have done it. Scotty Duro, lovely kick. Bit of a hit over the face there to Matty Hilda. He had all the time in the world. Scotty Duro was well placed. Vuna rises above Stevie Turner, and the first 4 points of the night will go to the Newcastle Knights. And when you've been under pressure, it's the best way to respond. Get out there and play football, score some points, play from in front.
Well, it might have turned out okay for Cooper Vuna and the Newcastle Knights, and they didn't get the penalty from right in front, because after a bit of pressure they may have elected underneath the black dot to take the 2 points, but they have 4 instead, and might be 6 in a moment here with Wes Nguama placing the ball on the tee for this conversion attempt. But I again was really surprised that video referee Sean Hampstead didn't say that that should have at least been just placed on report and a penalty for the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, in particular with Hilda staying down, I just thought that contact was high. Maybe, he didn't mean to do it, but there was contact there. He was down. He had time to look at it. I thought he may have just tipped off the referee.
Put it this way, I wouldn't be surprised if the match review committee said that's a grade 1 for Michael Ennis. It had that look about it.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Here's Nguama, 4 metres in from the touchline. Give the Knights a 6-0 lead. Not a bad strike. It just swings away to the left-hand side, though. 4 points to 0, though. Newcastle with an early lead against the Bulldogs here, Stewie Raper.
Yeah, last year it was really interesting to see how Hazem El Masri and Jamal Idris used to swap roles when they were defending on the line of the last tackle. Kevin Moore has opted not to do that with Steve Turner. He's got faith in Steve Turner. Maybe he might rethink that and put Jamal out there because he's so good under a high ball.
That Bulldogs possession.
Still himself a bit of a tongue lashing there. Steve Turner out on the wing as Ennis gets us back underway once again under grey skies here at Homebush, but no rain at the moment. Ben Cross will play it, or rather Tua Mavabe on the return, and here is Cross bringing it back across the 20-metre line. Some strong charges from him already, and he's really mixed it up with these Bulldogs forward. Here's Patterson now on a shift. Good early ball for Vuna. He goes one-on-one with Turner, who makes a classic covering tackle across the touchline.
I like it, and I like it a lot from Newcastle. They're prepared to move the football. Unfortunately, tackled over the sideline, but I love it when teams are prepared to move it early in the tackle count, coming out of their own red zone. It's the element of surprise. Teams are expecting you to just go one up and kick it. They'll get better results out of that Newcastle throughout the year if they continue to work on it.
Well, playing that sort of football at times early and middle part of the season last year, their form was terrific and it obviously fell apart at the seams. Everything that happened with Brian Smith signing with the Roosters and eventually being replaced by Rick Stone, but at times they were playing the most entertaining football in the competition tonight. Now the Bulldogs will get a chance to apply a little bit of pressure on this Newcastle defensive line for the first time.
Yeah, they haven't had much possession. This will be the first time they get the football in decent field position. Kamali finds touch, and they will get the start, a set of 6, 21 metres out from Newcastle's try line.
Here's Ben Roberts on that left-hand side of the field with Kamali positioned midfield for the moment. Andrew Ryan to play it for Ennis. Hodgson will tip on there for Hannant. Good tackle by Tafua with Tuamavave over the top. Ennis goes from dummy half, turns it back on the inside for Gordon. The ball goes to ground. A bit of a chase here between Patton and also McDougall and Simpson, but I will come back for a Bulldogs knock-on.
Well, they need to do better than this, the Bulldogs. The last couple of times they've had the football, they've turned it over in the tackle count. Adam McDougall looking on. A lot of experience missing from this Newcastle team, with Ian Gidley missing. But Yalene Gordon getting an opportunity to start tonight in the back row. Making that mistake. They've got to treat the ball with a bit more respect, the Bulldogs. The points just won't come. Newcastle aren't going to gift them opportunities. You have to work hard.
Here's Aku Uwate. Already an international, an exciting winger he is. In full flight, and he has something to catch. Bring it back away from the sideline now. They'll play it just outside their own 20. Hilda from dummy half. Giving it to Tuamavave. Underneath him was Gordon. Stagg was there also. David Stagg recently extending his contract with the Bulldogs. He's here for some time. As they go back to Patterson, linking up with McDonald, who was grabbed in a good tackle by Ben Hannant. The front rower made a big stop right there. Jared Mullen puts it high in the air. Patton standing underneath it, makes a good catch. Giro coming down the field, can't wrap him up. He gives it to Morris. Speed on speed, he was able to get past Uwate, but Simpson was there to cover up.
Yeah, the Bulldogs looking to counter-attack. Luke Patton passing the football a number of times tonight. But I love it from Newcastle. They're looking to shift wide. If they run out of space, they're turning it back on the inside, testing the honesty of the Bulldogs defenders. At times, laterally, they can be found out, the bigger Bulldogs forwards. Not moving across and tying into the line quick enough.
Hannant to play it for Rennis, who goes to Stagg. Bulldogs player of the year. He takes it across the halfway line. A good run by the lock forward. 45 metres out from the Newcastle line. Ennis's kick. Looking for the space, he finds it as well. It bounces off its point, and it's slightly awkward there for a moment for Uwate. He was met by a wall of blue and white jumpers with Ennis, the kicker, down there leading the chase. McDonald went to Newcastle, after leaving the Tigers for a chance to keep his career alive, and he has a chance to begin this season after getting a couple of cracks at the fullback role towards the back end of 2009. Wait and see how long Kurt Gidley is out of action for. He's saying he is getting closer all the time, but perhaps still a couple of weeks away from taking to the field. Real blow, of course, losing their captain, their inspirational captain in the All-Stars game on the Gold Coast in mid-February. Now a chance for the Knights to put some pressure on here. Nanai won't be able to bring it back. And Newcastle, from a long way out, earned themselves 6 more tackles.
It was a great kick from Jared Mullen. He's a left-foot kicker. He hooked it back to the middle of the post, but the urgency was lacking from the Bulldogs. Nanai and Patton were looking at one another, thinking, well, you're going to get it. You can just see Patton moving away from the football. They needed to be urgent. Someone needed to identify the ball on the ground straight away, call mine, get to it. The first responsibility is to get to the football quick, get it out of your in goal. They failed to do that. They've put themselves under pressure. And Kevin Moore, I think he'd be a concerned coach at the moment.
Well, the drop out by Brett Kamali, travelling 50 metres plus on the fly. Well taken, as it turned out, by McDonald. He gives it off to Cross. They're 40 metres away from the Dogs line. They lead 4 points to 0, but another try here from Newcastle would really have this Bulldogs crowd worried. Tuamavave from dummy half this time. Giro out the back. They lost the hymn sheet right there. Now, coming back to midfield is Cooper Vuna. He'll play it about 30 metres out. A couple of wasted plays by Newcastle. Hilda. Turning it off was Mullen, back on the inside for Simpson, who runs as straight and hard as any forward in the competition. Here's Mullen again, going back to the man who played the ball, Simpson. And again, he straightens. He's 15 metres out. On the last, they go to the short side. McLarner gives it on for Uarte, who left Hakananai in his wake. What a move by Arku Uarte. They had the numbers there, didn't they, the Bulldogs? But out of nowhere, a little shake and bake from this man, Uarte, and he was in to score.
Well, you just put that down to his own ability. They go down a short side, and the numbers are right. They've numbered up, and Uarte just getting on the outside. He's a powerful runner, but watch the step here. The left foot step and the speed to score in the corner. And Newcastle will play from in front by 10, possibly by 12. And in last night's game, in both games, the team that was the most enthusiastic to start the game and play with the most intensity in that first 20 minutes and gain the ascendancy went on and won. Newcastle are doing that today.
He was terrific before hurting his ankle for Fiji in the World Cup a couple of years ago, this man, Arku Uarte. And he stepped Hakananai out of his underpants, 5 metres out from his own goal line there. A terrific move.
Well, I know the Johns boys, Matthew and Andrew, have huge opinion of Uarte. They believe he could turn into something very, very special. And what he just showed us then, I wouldn't be arguing with them. At times, when he gets in the clear, you get the feeling that no one in the game will get him. He runs as fast as he has to.
Here is Nguama from wide out. Another good strike. This one, though, will get the flags in the air. And look at this scoreline. There's nothing wrong with your LCD, your plasma, whatever you have as far as the TV is concerned these days. It is Newcastle 10, the Bulldogs 0.
Well, Newcastle, you can see a couple of big names there. McManus, Ben Rogers, the Goish, Kurt Gidley, the biggest of all. Missing some strike players, but they haven't missed a beat. Here comes Ben Cross once again, charging into the line, bringing it back 20 metres.
And the former Origin forward. Well, he set a platform early on with some strong charges they have picked up from his beginning. And boy, here they are, a double-figure lead over the team that was within one game of the grand final last season. And the Knights have had all these issues, all the trouble off the field, missing some of their biggest stars through injury. They lead the Dogs 10-0. Now an offload. The ball goes to ground. Picked up here by Mark Tafua, who takes it back to the halfway line. Some good metres for them in the first 4 plays of this set of 6. Giro gives it to Cross. Good tackle, though, by Ben Roberts, who cuts his legs from underneath him. Now play it to Hilda on the last. Giro's kick off the legs. The Bulldogs are there to clean up the crumbs, and it's Michael Lennis with the rebound and the regather.
Great effort from Michael Lennis. He would have been tempted to pick that football up, but he did a sacrifice for his team. He dived on the football. Ben Roberts nearly through. Good tackle by Matty Hilda.
They'd like to hit back and hit back quickly. They get a good chance here. Stagg giving it to Kamali. They close the door on the halfback, though, in a hurry. Tuamavave was there, so was Tafua. Now Jimenez comes away to Stagg. He'll play it 15 metres out from the Newcastle line. They get a penalty as well.
Out, Corey. You can't spin on him with your head, mate.
A bit of contact. Head on head from Corey Patterson was the word from Jason Robinson. And there'll be no thoughts here of going for 2.
No, they need to tap it and get on with it. There you can see some head work there by Corey Patterson on David Stagg. And now it's Ben Hannett carrying the football 5 metres out. What have the Bulldogs got up their sleeve?
It's just like that now.
In front of the uprights, Ennis goes to this right-hand side. Yleen Gordon, who put a ball down. And their best chance so far. This time he hangs onto it. Now Kamala. He goes wide to Roberts. They're spread wide to the left-hand side. A juggle there from Andrew Ryan, who didn't get a great ball from Roberts. He'll play it 10 metres out from the Newcastle line. Midway through this first half, it's all the Knights at the moment. Kamala has David Stagg coming with him. He flips it out the back. It goes to ground. Kamala under pressure is beaten to the ball by Matt Hilda.
Well, they're more committed at this stage, Newcastle Knights. If the ball's on the ground, they want it. Their first up contact in defence, they're driving with their shoulders. When they've got the football, they've got more energy, more urgency in their play. They're off the pace here, the Bulldogs. They haven't had a lot of possession, but they just look slower at the moment.
Daniel Tolar is out there now for Newcastle. Good first stint, 20 minutes from Ben Cross in his first real game of the season. Now they keep it alive. There was a chance there had they come up with the ball, and they might still have it here. They'll get 6 more tackles. It was touched by Andrew Ryan as he came across to try and clean it up, but he wasn't able to do so, and as a result, Newcastle have a great chance here to once again extend the lead. Tuamavave keeps it alive. He gives it off for Mullen, who was almost through a gap. Grabbed from behind by Idris. And Brett Kamali made a second effort. And at 10-0, they might take the 2 here to make it 12-0.
I'd keep the pressure on. Fine touch. Go at them. Keep the pressure on. Kamali trying to slow them down. And they're doing exactly that. Duro finds touch. And they have to hang on here, the Bulldogs.
Here's Giro. Giving it to Tola. He's just 8 metres out from the Bulldogs line. An enormous set of 6 perhaps in the context of this game right here. Patterson standing. So hard to get to ground. Another offload from him. Tola comes back to Tafua. He's only a few metres out when he's stopped by Stagg and also Hodgson. Ryan was there also. Hilda goes in behind the front rowers. Now Mullen, a long ball. Here's Uarte again up against Nanai, who makes a better job of it this time and stops his opposite number a couple of metres away. Nguama gives it to Simpson. He put the foot down. He was only a metre out. Nguama goes to Mullen. Back on the inside for Tolar. Bulldogs desperate in defence, and they've hung on.
Knock on.
Boy.
They've held it out there as he's making the tackle.
But it was by an absolute fingernail, you get the impression.
It came off you guys. It's a scrum out here.
Well, they're out on their feet.
It's a scrum out here.
They're out on their feet. Newcastle have had all the possession. They've had 13 sets. They've completed 10. And poor ball control by the Bulldogs. 7 sets, only 3 completed. They're under pressure. They're struggling. Payer is now onto the field. Hodgson is left. They need something to give them that spark. Someone has to provide something for the Bulldogs. Whether it's a good run from Jamal Idris, whether it's Michael Innes out of dummy half or Josh Morris, they need something to get into their rhythm and spark them into action.
At the moment, though, they have to work it away from their own end, and Gordon will do that by playing it just outside his own 20. Ennis to Idris. Oh, collision of some bodies there. They went every direction as well. Jamming in hard was Jared Mullen, who's on this left-hand side of the defensive line for a moment, and he took a real shot from the man mountain that is Jamal Idris.
Well, they needed that from Jamal Idris. Some good body contact, some aggressive running. Follow me, boys. That's the call. Follow me. We can get back into this game, but we need to do more of this. Let's not be afraid of the collision. Let's put our bodies on the line. And the youngster leading by example.
Here's Mickey Payer, one of the off-season signings for the Dogs. He'll play it for Rennes. He goes to Hannant. He might come into his own here midway through this first half. The big front row for the Bulldogs. Gordon again. with that footwork that he has, the former centre getting past the first line. They're playing at 10 metres out from Newcastle's line. Here is Ennis giving it to Idris, who coughs it up, picked up by Newcastle, through McDonald, who beats 1, 2, then 3. He can't beat a fourth though, but what a run by the fullback.
Outstanding counter-attack from Shannon McDonald. But what about the tackle on Jamal Idris? In that situation, you have to be committed. You have to hit him in the breadbasket, and they did that right under the football, into the ribs, forced a turnover. Great defence on your line.
They were ready for Idris and threw everything at him, forcing the ball loose as it turned out. You wouldn't know they had so many big names missing in this game, Newcastle, the way they've opened up in the first 25 minutes. Richie Fa'oso is out there now, replacing Evantua Mavave, and here is the man in question, just outside the Bulldogs' 40-metre line. Last play here for the Knights, Hilda. It's to Giroux. Puts it high in the air. Nobody showing too much interest in getting there. Idris, as a result, was beaten by Patterson. Over the top to Vuda. He gives it to Junior Sal. And if they get the all clear, the Knights are slaying the Dogs.
Polly, that is sixth and last. Just check for an onside, please. Offside, please.
Well, we only spoke minutes ago about Newcastle being the more urgent of the two football teams out there, wanting it more. If the ball was on the ground, they were diving on it. And now the ball is in the air, and Corey Patterson just wanted it a little bit more. He's okay. They're onside. You can see him coming through. Jamal Idris just stands there. If you're not going to come down with the football, Idris should have been aware to let Patterson take the football and then wrap him up. He didn't do that. He was able to offload, and Junior Sal looks as though he scored the third try of the night for Newcastle. And this is a big turn-up for the books.
Just the one look is all they need. It is a try for Newcastle, who lead the Bulldogs 14 points to 0. You expected the game effort from the Knights coming here to ANZ today, but boy, this is stunning.
Look, I expected them to be urgent. I expected them to be committed, but I expected the same thing from the Bulldogs. They haven't shown us that. One team is ready to play and ready to respect the ball and play as well as they can. And the Bulldogs, too many turnovers in good attacking positions, and the Knights still got some strike power in this football team. There's Jared Mullen, there's Uarte, Cooper Vuna and Junior Sal here combining for this try. Patton does his best, but they're off the pace, and Newcastle proving the doubters wrong.
Boy, an unbelievable scoreline here. Junior Sal, who blossomed under the coaching of Brian Smith, player who had bounced around looking for a chance, finally realised the clubs he was at weren't the problem, was his attitude was the problem. Well, he fixed the attitude, and he's now a regular first grader for the Newcastle Knights, and here they are leading the Bulldogs on Bulldogs turf. Guama again from the sideline has had some tough ones so far here tonight, but he struck them nicely. This one also, it stays inside the upright, and the Knights lead the Bulldogs 16 points to 0. And haven't they taken the crowd out of this equation, Stuart?
They've quietened everyone down here. And before the game, I discussed pointers about Brett Kamali and Mick Ennis and the importance of their kicking game. Well, it's the other guys that are doing it. Mullen, Giroux, have scored 2 tries off kick, and they've scored another one off a great kick in the in goal. And their kick game is just outdoing the Dogs at the moment. And as Laurie said, their enthusiasm and their urgency is just playing them off the park.
It might be the curse of round 1 for the Bulldogs. They've lost 3 of their last 4 round 1 games, including one game, and this might be pertinent given the scoreline. They led the Eels 20 points to 0 here a few seasons ago and got rolled in the second half. Parramatta launched the second half comeback of some sort of proportions. So Well, 16-0 while it looks bad for the Dogs. We're a long way from the end of this one, although the Knights going down the field, well, they make a knock on here, but they are carving them up suddenly in the middle of the field.
Well, they're doing it at will. Their support play, they're pushing up on every play. The Bulldogs' defence at times, they do get a little bit wide. There's a gap between Idris and Kamali, which is wide. And they're looking to exploit that with a short passing game. They've got Sau and Vuna holding their width, and Idris is a little bit worried about them getting on the outside for speed.
Square.
They've got to tighten up a little bit on that right edge.
Mickey Payer has it for the Bulldogs at the halfway line. He'll play it for Ennis with plenty of numbers down this short side. Ben Hannant is going to go to the half-hour mark at least. Here is Ennis. Turning it back on the inside for Stagg. Keeping it close to the play, the ball at the moment. See if they split it now. They're in a bit of field position, 30 metres out from the Newcastle line. They're spread to the left-hand side. Kamali, though, turns it back underneath. Once again, Payer is there. Not asking too many questions at the moment of this Newcastle defensive line. Ennis goes to Kamali, who puts it high in the air. A chance for Morris, and now only go up, and up above them was Aku Uata. They'll drag him back towards the end goal, but another confident piece of play from this impressive winger.
And the ball goes in the air, and who wants it? Uata. No one from the Bulldogs challenges for the football. Put under no pressure whatsoever.
Here's Taya playing it. Goes from Marlin, an out ball, quick one to the Guama, who shows it. Well, giving it to Uata. There might have been some metres to pick up for Newcastle there. They're confident, aren't they? Spinning the ball inside their own 20. Really testing the Bulldogs on the fringes. Matt Hilda playing it as he comes back from Mullins a kick with that left boot of his from well inside his own territory. It goes down to Luke Patton, who picks it up at his own goal line. Good metres again on the kick by the 5'8".
Well, it's a great kick. And with the rule change, the long distance kick or the downtown kick, you have to find space. If you kick it to the fullback on the foot, he is going to get more metres because the chase won't be as effective, obviously, of the last couple of years. So it's more important that you find space than anything and roll the ball along the ground. And they have done that fantastically well tonight. Just allows your chase to get down there, in a line and settle.
Gary Warburton gets a touch here and on hands and knees takes it back towards the halfway line. Fast play the ball. Stagg got collared. Zeb Taya was the man in question. Stagg can't believe he didn't get a penalty for that. Play on was the call. The kick again finds Uate. Oh, Morris had his hands full. They wrap him up, and here's the shot again on Stagg. Well, unlucky there not to get a penalty for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, certainly high. I've got no doubt if he stays down it would have been a penalty, but he doesn't play like that, David Stagg. Bulldogs player of the year last season. Gets through plenty of work. He's already getting through 14 tackles for the game.
Including that last one as well. Here is Warburton making a stop. The Knights bring it back within 20 of the halfway line. Patterson standing there. Again, they can't get him to the ground. Oh, he took a chance there. It was touched by Idris in trying to get to the ball. And Junior Sau came up with it. So 6 more tackles for the Knights. Just little things going their way at the moment. You make your own luck, they say. And boy, when Richie Foso runs like that, he makes plenty of his own luck. Nadira is out there giving Hilda a break. And now Taylor is away. Down the middle of the field, they make an inroad once again. Stagg made the tackle. Nadira goes to Mullen. He takes it to the line off the shoulder there of Andrew Ryan. Still going before he lost the ball inside the Dogs' 20.
Well, it's just the ability to win the ground. Newcastle are winning the ground. The contact from the Bulldogs hasn't been great. It allows Newcastle to get to their feet quick. Nadira out of dummy half, just picking up the forwards on the advantage line, just rolling the ruck easy. And if you can do that and you can give Mullen and Duro some time and space, they will put points on you.
Seconds, arms over, pull them together, locks.
It's just the ability at the moment of Newcastle forwards. They're just rolling through them at will.
Well, the Dogs lead half-time, and they need it in a hurry. If you could call timeout in Rugby League, Kevin Moore would have been making the T sign from high in the stand some time ago.
Well, possession. When they've had it in good field position, they've turned it over. Other than that, most of their starts have been coming from inside their own 20-metre line.
This is the 12th set of 6 for the Bulldogs in the game. The Knights have already had 18. They've completed 13 of 18. The Bulldogs 6 of 11 to this point. Here's Ryan. Ennis to Kamali. Gives it off for Hodgson. He can't come up with it. Just isn't clicking for the blue and whites. And they need to get something going in a hurry. Ben Hannant back to the bench with Hodgson back on the field.
I think early in the season, if you notice you're in a game and you haven't got your rhythm, I like to see ball players give it early. So you're not putting the runner under too much pressure. You know, you're putting them under pressure. You haven't played a lot of football, not used to contact, in particular teams that are zeroing in just under the football early in the season. Just to give you that time to set, steady, and get the ball in your hands.
With it in his hands once again, here is Cooper Vuna to play it. Little move down the short side from the scrum win, just inside the Bulldogs 30 when he does. Tola, lovely ball, called forward though. Daniel Tola can't believe it. He might have been unlucky there because it was quite a pass.
Just the little passes have been worrying the Bulldogs. And there's Daniel Tola just committing a defender. And Richie Fioso just a touch in front. Been a dominant performance. Newcastle 16-0. They'd love to go to a break or go to the break. 16 in front. But here's a period coming up where they may find themselves under the hammer. The Bulldogs are renowned for striking close to half-time.
Here is Kamali. Turning it back on the inside here for David Stagg. 4 minutes out from the break. Ennis. Here he goes to Jared Hickey. The big man running and doing a bit of ball playing as well. Steve Turner coming in from his wing. Got a touch. And now Ennis kicks for the corner. They wanted a better result than that. Straight to McDonald. He was looking for the corner for the in-goal area, trying to put some pressure on McDonald going back. They had real momentum, the Bulldogs, coming down the field. It was a poor kick from Ennis, as it turns out.
Yeah, the rhythm is not there. They're not finding space for the kicking game. You know, that just needed to be into the corner, maybe in the in-goal. Get down there, get Newcastle working it off their own try line, get them thinking about 3.5 minutes to go before half-time and maybe thinking conservative football. When they're starting their sets outside their own 20, they probably will move the football if the opportunity arises. It's a different mentality when you're on your own try line.
Here's Richie Fioso. He'll play it at the halfway line. Maguama gives it to Mullen. His kicking has been very good. Another judicious one right here. He'll put the ball out of play with 3 left in the first half. Slow the clock down and make the Bulldogs once again work it away from inside their own 20. And they've done plenty of that so far in this game. And it started so promisingly for them. This man made a long run down the right-hand side. And we thought, here they go. The Dogs in their first possession, making some real territory. But it's been all one-way traffic. It's been blue and red traffic.
Yeah, and that's a sign of maturity from Jared Mullen. When you put in a kick like that, 3 minutes to go before half-time, you know that he's thinking. You know that he's thinking about the game. He knows what's required, what play is needed by his team. Just to roll it into the side or over the sideline, walk to the scrum, tack it, defend from a set start.
Here's Ennis to Hickey. They put their body on the line again. Dan Tola, who suffered a fractured kneecap making a tackle, of course, in round 1 last year. Missed the entire season. He had 4 surgeries. There he is again, making another tackle on David Stagg. Here's Roberts. A good ball for Morris. Good tackle, though, by Uwate. Stops him just outside the Knights 30. Last play, they need a result. Kamali puts it in the air. Edris goes up for it, loses it backwards. Play on is the call. It came from Warburton. back to Idris, who wasn't ready for it, and it will be a knock-on against Canterbury.
Thank you.
Well, it looked as though it was building
Just wait till he tells
when they came down with the ball.
The 10's on the line here.
But the second effort from Jamal Idris just wasn't alert enough. He knocks it back. Warburton picks it up and then passes it back. He had plenty of time. Just grabbed at the football, just rushed it.
Yeah, you're holding his head.
There's been no continuity to the football. The build-up in the early part of their set's been good. The finish to the sets have been poor.
It was really let them down as Tola works it forward, gets an offload away. He gives it to McDonald, who is pushing up, sniffing, looking for a chance. Simpson, lovely hands, but it went to ground. Otherwise, McGrath was away. Uarte here, inside the final 60 in this first period. Giro giving it to Simpson. We're working up to the halfway line. Madeira gets to dummy half. It's a safety first set of 6 from the Newcastle Knights. They'll just wind down the clock once again. Giroud's kick is out on the full. And he might have given the Dogs a couple of tackles here they weren't entitled to within range of the Newcastle line.
They probably have 2 tackles here, the Bulldogs. But from what they've shown us so far, you'd be a brave man to think that they can score a try. Here they go, one play.
It's funny how things turn out though. Here is Hickey pumping it forward, dumping it out the back. Ennis got there in a hurry. He needs to play it even quicker though to keep it alive. He does. Roberts to Kamali. It comes to Warburton. Idris was there. Warburton went behind him and gave himself up, an obvious shepherd.
Easy.
And it sort of sums up the first half of the Bulldogs in that play right there. And instead of the Bulldogs applying a bit of pressure, it's Newcastle through the boot of Mullen, who take it down the field. And they'll have a chance here to maybe put it up in the air and see what happens. And we know they've already had a result off a couple of kicks in this first half. Here is Giroud from a 48-metre attempt. He won't get the distance. Nanai will happily watch it go dead. That he does. And that will do us for the first 40 here at ANZ. And what a scoreline we have at the break. Newcastle lead the Bulldogs 16 points to 0. 3 tries to nothing, and they have a huge task in front of them, Canterbury, to get themselves out of this one. A massive upset on the cards here already in 2010. We'll take a break and come back with the boys in the studio right after this on Super Saturday. This is the Dogs and the Knights at ANZ Stadium. A good one tomorrow. That will be the Titans and the Warriors up there. A little warm one on the Gold Coast, no doubt. To kick your Sunday viewing off, King Kamali, well, he'll have to be the king in this second half of the Bulldogs to come from 16-0 down, Laurie, because they've dug themselves a fair hole here at ANZ, haven't they, with their first half effort, which was fairly lacklustre.
Yeah, they've been off the pace right from the first minute. Newcastle, Steve Simpson leading the way. They've just been resilient and enthusiastic. They've kept turning up for one another. Defensively, they've been very strong. And with the football, they're challenging the Bulldogs through the middle and also on the edges.
Don't forget with TAB Sportsbet, you can bet live and bet now. The Dogs at the moment, $3.30. The Knights into $1.30. Well, the turnaround in the betting, that is, after the prices they were to begin the game. Andrew Ryan back on field. And the paint might well have been peeling off the walls in the Bulldogs dressing room. It would have been fairly interesting to be in there with Kevin Moore, who they say is as calm as they get usually. But boy, 12 months, we're talking about what a difference as far as expectations makers in the Bulldogs case. Boy, first round effort last year compared to this year. Chalk and cheese. Here we go. David Stagg waiting by. Made plenty of tackles once again in the first half as the kick is let bounce by the Bulldogs, and Newcastle come up with it. If they were talking urgency at halftime, the Bulldogs, the players forgot it as they ran onto the field. And Newcastle almost score off the second play of the half. Uarte will play it. Here's Nguama. He goes to Mullen. Turns it back on the inside for Richie Foso. And he'll take some stopping also. 5 metres out, perhaps less. Nadira. He goes to Mullen. Turning it back for Zeb Taylor, who was tremendous throughout 2009. George Nadira comes to Giro, cuts out Steve Simpson, gives it to Nguama, who was easily handled as a result by Josh Morris. What an opening to this second half. Uate back to Giro, who kicks across the field. There's emergency this time. Idris flew forwards, taken back into the in-goal area, and it will be a goal line dropout.
Well, after spending 10 minutes in the shed, and if urgency was this, something that was spoken about, which I'm sure it would have been, they've disregarded the coach's instructions. Someone had to get to that football on the full. Now they've placed themselves under pressure again. Idris going up, coming down with the football, although it was with a juggle. And now they drop out from underneath the sticks. Newcastle starting the way they finished the first half.
And in case you didn't know, that man had brought it back as a winger. He runs like a front rower, though. Aku Uate just said, stop me if you can. Now Faosa. Here's Nadira. Going to the left-hand side for Mullen, who links up with Patterson, who went past Kamali. Good stop by Hickey and also Patton in the end. He wanted a penalty there, Corey Patterson, for being rolled onto his back after the event. He didn't get one. Now Giro over the head of Simpson. It bounces up for Giro, who lifted his leg as Nanai came to him to make the tackle. It's play on for the moment. Here's Giro again. Going to Daniel Tola, stepping away from Hickey's tackle. One more here for the Knights. They lead 16-0. Giro goes to Mullen. He had McDonald back on his inside, tries to get the ball away. Patterson, big man up against big man with Idris taking him to ground. It bounces up for Cooper Vuna, who comes back to Giro, who'll put a kick in. A chance here for Uate, who went up forward but knocked it on. And this would be a scrum feed to the Bulldogs, 10 out from their own line.
Change over out here.
Newcastle, they've just upped a gear, upped another gear. And the Bulldogs did well to hang on, but really they still look flat. And they just put the ball in the air and make it a contest between the wingers, Nanai and Uate. Uate knocked it forward. And Jared Hickey working the ball out of his own 20-metre line. They have to improve their yardage game. They have to improve the ability to hang on to the football, and they've got to establish some good field position if they want to get back into this game. Without saying they have to score first.
Michael Ennis with a 40-20 attempt. Unlucky bounce for him. It sat up on its point for McDonald, who is now taken around the shoulders there by Jamal Idris. He plays it just inside his own 30. 40-20 there for Ennis, and the Bulldogs might have just sparked them. Things aren't rolling their way at the moment. Here's Tola, tipping it on for Simpson, who picks up some big metres. Still going. Across the halfway line he is, and they are just blowing them off the park. Taya. Bulldogs muscle up, no surprise underneath it was David Stagg making the tackle as Nadira goes to Mullen. He gives it off to Patterson, who has had a bunch of offloads himself in this game. He gave it to McDonald this time. He was set upon straight away by Gary Warburton. Tolau gets to dummy half, and they're just outside the 40. Here's Mullen. Rubbering, try and keep it in play down towards Patton. Has to work it away from his own corner, and they are just doing everything right at the moment, Stuart Raper. They are in command still, Newcastle.
Well, mate, yeah, the half-time report, Kevy Moore not happy with anyone. From 1 to 17, they need to improve. Obviously, Rick Stone very happy and very impressed, but as reinforced for the players, it is 40 minutes. It's raining down here, guys. It's just starting to come. It's sprinkling. It's looking very dark. That's not going to help the Doggies' cause.
A bit of drizzle suddenly here at Homebush as Jared Hickey takes it across the halfway line. Newcastle might have been lost on some of their players that last year they led the Bulldogs in Newcastle 20-0 at half-time and had to withstand a second half surge by the Dogs, who went down 22-14 as Idris takes it forward. Grabbed there though by Vuna and also Sal. He'll play it about 25 out from the Newcastle line. Warburton goes to Kamali. He gives it off for Hodgson. No way through, though, this very strong Newcastle pack this afternoon. They've tried to work them over. They've come off second best at times. Juggled and put down by Michael Linus, who got a ball from Warburton. And again, in a good field position, they just cough it up pretty simply.
Yeah, and passes aren't sticking. Warburton just pirouettes, turns it around to Michael Linus. He juggles the football. They can't build any pressure. They cannot build and sustain any pressure on this Newcastle line at all. Every time they get inside the 20, they turn it over.
Wait here, boys, wait here. Bulldogs.
They're lacking concentration.
Stand up, guys. Stand up, no more kick.
They have to think more. When we've got the football, we need to treat the ball like goal.
Newcastle done a very good job of that. That's what happens when you run hard. Now there might be an issue.
Tackle one.
Junior Sau clutching his ribs, or perhaps a sternum here. He's the sort of player who usually finds himself in the wars during the course of the game. He can take a hit. And bit of a, well, not the magic sponge anymore, but the old spray comes out and he's back on his feet usually and running as hard as ever, but he's taken a fair shot right here.
Yep, he's a good player. Played in the Four Nations at the end of the season. Andrew Ryan, I think, just collects him in the rib area, and that would hurt. Talking about the magic sponge, wasn't that great when they used to run the magic sponge out? They'd treat your injury, and then if you were thirsty, you had a guzzle out of the sponge.
Yes.
That was very hygienic, wasn't it?
Yes, well, it led to, well, the Bulldogs know all about it. Back in the early 80s, a plague of glandular fever ran through the club and wiped about 14 of their squad out.
That's mental toughness.
That was the end of the sponge. Took a real shot there, Junior Sau. You saw Andrew Ryan come in and drive in and under the ribs. He was held up in the tackle, Sau, of Jamal Idris. We'll see if he's okay. At the moment, though, he's gone back to the in-goal area. The Knights will play with 12 for the time being. Here's Nadira out of dummy half. Going to Daniel Tolar. He's 9 shot of the halfway line. Mullen. Kick towards the sideline. Will be taken out there pretty comfortably by Steve Turner, who brings it back, but has met a good tackle by Corey Patterson with some help from Scott Duro. Now Idris. Not much doing for him as the forwards get back behind the play of the ball. There is Junior Sau, and there's no way that he's going to be able to continue. He's off the playing field entirely now. The Newcastle Knights back to their full complement, but it will force a reshuffle out there on that left-hand side of their line. And now the Dogs get a penalty.
Marker, mate, you've got to be square.
Well, with the reshuffle, Zeb Taylor has gone out to play left centre. So if you're the coach of the Dogs, I'm sure the message has gone down. We need to get to that side of the field. He's a back rower, not a centre. He's testing out. Andrew Ryan carrying the football forward. They need to be next to score, the Dogs. They have to score next if they're a chance of winning.
Here's their chance. Hickey giving it to Patton, fending away from the tackle there of one to keep going. He beat Nadira, but he was wrapped up eventually by Patterson. Now Roberts turns it back on the inside there for Jamal Idris, who is so hard to get to ground. They still can't put him on the green stuff. He will stand there and play it. Ennis to Hickey, who says, stop me if you can. They do a good job in the end. There were 4 of them there. Daniel Tolar making the first contact. Ennis spins it for Kamali. He goes out the back. Roberts rubbering for the corner. Morris is there. They had their first try. They were short of numbers, Newcastle, and Roberts put in a lovely kick. With the speed that Morris has, he only had to get there to put it down. He was able to do that. They're on the board finally after 48 minutes.
Yeah, they needed to strike quickly in this second half, and they've done that through Brett Morris. He scored 22 tries for the club last year. And the ball along the ground, just getting on the outside of Uarte. He moved forward, he didn't hedge his bets. And there you see, lovely kick, lovely try. And for the first time in a long while, the Bulldogs will have a shot at the start of the season without the great Hazem El Masri. Michael Ennis is taking over the goal-kicking duties. But Josh Morris, sensational debut season for the Bulldogs last year. Played State of Origin. He's improving every time he runs out.
He scored 22 tries in 21 games last year for the Bulldogs. He's now scored 4 in his last 4 games against the Newcastle Knights. And Michael Ennis can't pick up where Hazem El Masri left off. His conversion attempt is waved away. It stays a 12-point game here at the moment. But they're on the board. It was a lovely kick by Roberts. Just with the ball angled so it spins back towards the player chasing it, as opposed to going towards the dead ball line. And if Morris hadn't got there, Nanai was there. We'll see if they can build on that. Here's Andrew Ryan. The shallow restarts with the rain coming down slightly heavier here at ANZ suddenly. Michael Hodgson backing into Ben Cross, who put in a first good stint. He might have been hurt though badly here, Cross. There was a real contact between the two big men there, and Ben Cross has been left on the ground. Boy, a man who has been through the absolute ringer as far as injuries are concerned in the last 2 seasons as a Newcastle Knight. And here he is on the turf once again.
He's a fierce competitor. He holds no fear. And he just charges in. He makes contact. Bang. He just twisted at the last moment, Hodgson, and backed into him. And just his back made contact into his head. He'll want to play on Ben Cross. He'll get to his feet. He'll push away from the trainers. He'll want to continue. That's nasty. But he's staying out there. He's back on his feet. Let's line up again.
This, of course, is the man who pretty much KO'd himself in the first tackle of a trial game a couple of weeks ago. As a result, he's played no real football coming off this return. It's been 10 months between games for Ben Cross, in fact, after suffering that ruptured bicep muscle last season. We'll see how he is in his next carry when he gets a chance. At the moment, though, to give him a couple of sets of 6 just to get his head together. Uata grabbed by Ennis. They need plenty more of that, the Dogs. Here's Simpson now.
Great run, Steve Simpson. Tucked it under his arm, pushed forward, made 10 metres for his team, and there's Cross on Hickey.
Boy, Jared Hickey, he didn't wait to try and compose himself, did he, Ben Cross? He put his hand up straight away and said, here I am. I may not be all that good, but what about the hit on Hickey?
Well, how tough are you to play this game? You take the hits, you give the hits, but you've got to keep going.
There he is now, Jared Hickey. He's getting a bit of help to get back into the line behind them.
They'll be sore tomorrow.
And then some. It might be a few days. Here's Turner, slipping as he comes up towards the halfway line. Playing for Ennis. And the Dogs have had a bit of ball go their way after only having 8 completed sets in the first half. 36% of the ball. It's come back their way, or at least it was until then. And now here's a chance. Tafua is away. Idris is chasing. He won't get to mark Tafua. And off the turnover, Newcastle extend their lead on the Dogs.
Well, the turnover, ball on the ground, Tafua, urgency. Picked it up and out-sprinted Jamal Idris. The Newcastle fans have made their way down to ANZ Stadium. They're delirious. They've had faith in their football team. See, just the reaction of the Canterbury players when the ball was on the ground. The reaction should have been when Patton turned it over, let's compete for the ball. If the opposition pick it up, we have to be there to make the tackle. They switched off, which they've been switching off all afternoon, all night. And Tafua scoring the try, and it's going to be very, very difficult now in the rain for the Bulldogs to work their way back into this game. And full credit to Newcastle. They've been a club under siege in the pre-season. Been plenty of dramas surrounding the club. But the players and the coaching staff, they've stuck tight. Their main focus has been on playing football. And they're delivering with a very, very good performance in round one. And it's not easy to do. When your mates are in trouble.
Boy. It's some sort of coaching performance, isn't it, by Rick Stone?
6 game in charge.
To get this team ready to play the way they are here tonight. Play the Bulldogs out of the game, potentially, with a kick right here to Wes Nguama. 10 metres to the side of the uprights. No. He slices it badly and misses to the right-hand side. And the gap stays for the moment at 16 points. He's quick mark to Phil, but he had to run 60 metres, Stuart. Nobody got to him.
It was a good effort, wasn't it? And as you said, or as Laurie said, the urgency for the Bulldogs just wasn't there. Well, Kevin Moore's got a bit urgent. He's gone to his bench. He's looking at Ben Barber, who still haven't seen him on the field yet. At 20-4 down, he's going to have to do something very special to get them out of the mire.
Well, it was always going to be interesting to see when Kevin Moore went to his bench and used Ben Barber. He is an absolute live wire, prodigious scorer of tries in his Toyota Cup career a couple of seasons ago. Didn't get that many games in the first grade last year. He bided his time playing lower grade football, park football almost, while he learnt as much as anything the defensive skills of the game. And they'll be relying on his attack when he comes on the field here in a moment. They need some spark and they need it in a hurry.
Yeah, be interesting to see what position he plays. I'm sure he'll just have a floating roll, stay on the football. That'll be the instructions. They need something.
Steve Turner out of dummy half, grabbed there by Corey Patterson, who's had a very big game.
Hasn't had a bad play in Newcastle. They have all played their role. They knew what was required and they've done it for the first 55 minutes.
Good run by Hannon, but they need plenty more of that. Last play here for Canterbury as Ennis looks for the in-goal area. They haven't had much of a result off any of their kicks so far here tonight. It was a good pick-up by Cooper Vuna. He might have juggled it in these suddenly greasy conditions. He was able to keep it off the turf.
In those type of conditions, I was thinking he was going to stop it with his foot or his feet. Instead, no, take the hard option. I'll trust my hands. It's stuck. And that's the amount of confidence that they've gained in the first part of this game.
Boy, there's another strong run there by Ben Cross on that previous carry to bring them back beyond their own 30-metre line for Newcastle. Very impressive. Now a charge down. Michael Ennis up in the face of Jared Mullen, and as a result, the Dogs have it 45 metres out. Still a stack of time left in this game for the home side, if they're good enough. Here is Hannon. Screaming in was Wes Nguama looking for a shot. Now Ennis. Gives it to Hodgson. He makes a good run. If they can score in this next couple of sets, we might have a grandstand finish still here. Here is Barber getting away from one. Evade the tackle there of Cooper Vuna, who wraps him up 15 metres out. Idris goes to Kamali. Last play. The grubber doesn't get through the line. It wasn't played at. Still the last. Here's Idris winding up, fending away or trying to from Patterson. He lost the ball, and Scott Duro has it for Newcastle.
Rock on. Up here, change over.
Play the ball,
guys.
Last tackle here, change over.
Another poor end of their set of 6. Scotty Duro coming up with the football. I don't think Idris was aware that it was last play. It seemed as though he was going to ground with the football. I think if he was aware, he may have offloaded or maybe tried to kick it himself. And Jared Mullen receiving attention. His kicking game's been first class tonight.
He got monstered by Michael Ennis, who came out of the line so quickly to put some real pressure on him on that kick. They're checking his neck there, both halves at the moment, getting some attention from the Newcastle training staff. He's had shoulder issues obviously in the past. Jared Mullen, which have taken him off the field at different periods in his career in first grade. Seems to be okay for the moment. Here is Tafua. Oh, as they put the ball down. Nadira was off before acceptance is out of dummy half.
Back it up for me. Back it up.
He's put his team under some pressure here.
Well, there comes a time in a game where you have to make a charge. You have to make a run. There's 22 minutes to go in this contest. If the Bulldogs want to give themselves an opportunity to win, now's the time.
You'd reckon so, right here. Here is Roberts giving it to Barber. He's stopped 10 metres out from the Newcastle line, right in front of the uprights when he plays it. Ennis goes to his right. Hannah out the back for Kamori. Idris can't hang on to it yet again. Hasn't had the happiest night with his hands, has he?
No. Turned it over a couple of times, Jamal Idris. And just the passing just hasn't been crisp. And the way that he catches the football, it's all chest. And I know it's, you know, raining and slippery out there, but
Seconds down, pull them together, Matt.
you run the risk in these conditions catching it on the chest by the ball bouncing. It's not a soft pass, it can bounce off.
Just over 18,000 fans here at ANZ tonight as the Bulldogs muscle up in defence. It's funny because it's similar conditions to what we had here last year when Hazem El Masri became the leading all-time scorer against Manly. The Dogs set the tone for the rest of their season in that game. Let's hope that isn't the case with this effort so far here tonight. Here's Ben Cross again. Hannon was out looking for a shot on him. Giro goes to Patterson. Stagg makes a tackle. 4 tackles gone. They're only at their own 20. They come back towards the middle of the field. Here's Hilda giving it to Giro across the field to Nguama. He runs away from Barber, straightens the attack, beat Andrew Ryan's cover. They picked up 20 metres on that play and 20 important metres at that. Mullins kick this time, not charged down. Goes down to Luke Patton. But they've done very well there in the last couple of plays, Newcastle. They have the Dogs at this moment inside their own 20, although Luke Patton is having a bit to say about that, and he makes a good run to bring it back to the 30.
There's a good run there by the General, but they need more of that. They're still walking, they're clustered around to play the ball, they've got no width at all. They're just coming straight down the middle. You need to have some shape. You can't just be all around to play the ball. If you are around to play the ball, everyone needs to push up.
Now Michael Hodgson. He'll play it 40 metres out from the Newcastle line. Kamali to Hannon. Here's Barber. Now a chance. Here's Turner. With Idris on his outside. Good tackle, though, by Mark Tafua, who's been terrific on both sides of the ball tonight. Stagg goes to Kamali, who puts the cross kick in. Another chance from Morris. The ball goes to ground. Knocked over the dead ball line. And it will be a goal line dropout.
It's a good kick there by Brett Kamali. Josh Morris was coming through. It was a one-on-one contest between he and Uarte. Uarte fumbled it, but knocks it dead. There'll be a line dropout from underneath the sticks, and the Bulldogs get another opportunity.
Don't forget, coming up after this, the Sharks and the Storm. This one from Toyota Stadium. Promises to be a good one. The Sharks, of course, coming off a tough 2009 season up against the Premiers, the world champions at that as well. But as we're seeing here tonight, nothing is a given in the NRL.
Square markers.
Hannett playing it here for Ennis as they go forward through Hodgson. They play it just outside the Newcastle 20. Ennis waiting again. 18 minutes remaining in this game as he goes down the middle through Hannant. Good run, but an equally good tackle made by Evan Tuamavave. Ennis going past Kamali, giving it to Barber, who changes the angle, comes back to Patterson. He's been able to work his magic so far, Ben Barber. Ennis to Kamali. First man ball there. Running the decoy, it looked like was Hodgson, but he ended up with it and made a good catch in these slippery conditions. He'll play it here, a slow play the ball. Ennis, grubbering for himself, was checked in running, reached out for the ball, And we'll wait and see. He says goal line dropout, Jason Robinson. McDonald got a hand there. And he obviously forced it.
Yeah, he forced it. McInnes just rolling along the ground, trying to get his team another 4-pointer. He missed out. If I'm the Bulldogs, I'm now looking to maybe go down the left side. Last year, a very potent side of attack for them. Josh Morris and Bryson Goodwin. It was a streak. They've tended to play a lot down Idris's side. But that left edge defence from Newcastle has handled it. I'd look to go to the middle of the field and let's get Morris one-on-one with Wes Nguama.
Michael Hodgson brings it back for the Dogs. Ennis from dummy half goes to Andrew Ryan, who works it inside the 30. Still 20 points to fall. Newcastle Knights. Good morning. Pattis to Stagg now. Spinning away from the tackle there of Patterson. Wrapped up by Giro and also George Nadira. Here's Kamali. He's been able to impose himself in this game given the lack of possession they had, especially and field position in that first half. It was all Newcastle. Ryan playing it. Here is Kamali again now, floating, going in behind Barber, giving it to Pat. Idris again is the target, but they've had bodies in front of him all night, and again they make a good tackle on their own line. Barber comes back for Kamali, who kicks across the field. A chance for Morris against Uwate once again. This one touched once more by Uwate, and it will be another goal line dropout.
Third dropout in a row, and Newcastle do not look like conceding points. Their defence on that left edge has been sensational. Zeb Taylor is playing as a centre, usually a back rower, and they're handling Idris. They're handling when he cuts back on the inside. They're pushing across. Their contact on him has been good. And I think they've been sending the numbers across there. There's less numbers on their right side. Play to Josh Morris.
It's Ben Hannon who brings it back from the goal line dropout by Giro. He plays it at the Newcastle 30. Ennis gives it to Gordon, who bumps it forward for a gain of about 10. They've been tremendous under pressure. In this last little stint, it's been all the Dogs in the last 5 minutes. The Knights have barely had the ball in their hands. Stagg plays. Ennis goes to Gordon. At the back for Kamali. Again for Barber. Once more. It goes wider past Idris this time. Steve Turner dives to the corner. And he has his first try as a Bulldog. And what an important try it is.
They continue to go down that side. And this time they do come away with 4 points. And Newcastle, Kamali, second man play. Barber just attracting Cooper Vuna. He just needed to stay out Vuna, but he was attracted into Barber. And he goes across unmarked. They've really peppered this side of the field, the Bulldogs, in particular in this second half. And finally, they get a reward. And will this keep the Bulldog supporters' hopes alive? They're behind by 12, kick to come. Steve Turner, his first try in Bulldogs colours. Another big kick coming up from Michael Innes. A difficult night. Kicking goals, they've all been from out wide.
It's a sort of kick that Hazem El Masri would just knock over, wouldn't he, to maintain the momentum. Here is Ennis trying to fade one back off the upright, and it stays out. Big boots to field, quite obviously. It's 20 points to 8, 12 the difference, 2 converted tries, and there's still time, Stuart.
Well, there is a bit of time, and they've got the talent, the Bulldogs. They know that. It was always going to be interested to see how they were going to utilise Ben Barber. Been very noticeable. He's gone to that right side, and they're trying to get that combination of him and Jamal Idris together. So I think Zeb Taylor will be expecting a lot more traffic down his side.
Let's see what they've got. There's final 12 and a bit minutes, the Bulldogs here. Steve Turner likes scoring on debut for a club when he moved from the Panthers to the Storm. He scored on debut from Melbourne. He's done likewise here tonight for Canterbury. Hannon, terrific run, gets them going down the middle of the park. Ennis links up with Gordon. The Dogs have a sniff. Here he is, Ennis, from inside the 40. They're going to kick it over the head of Cooper Vuna, but he can't do so. I think Vuna might have torn a hammy. He stopped like he'd been shot after making the catch.
He's down. He's stretching up, Cooper. It's either the hemi or he's got cramp.
It might be a cramp.
Pull the hemi or a cramp by the looks of things.
Here he is, and he pulled up straight away. He couldn't go. He couldn't have made it to the 20-metre line with a taxi voucher.
Well, he has to stay on there, doesn't he? He has to stay on, given that they've already lost an outside back. And they've got a back rower playing out there. It would be a huge blow for Rick Stone if he was to leave the field Cooper Vuna.
Here's Nguama. Getting rid of Andrew Ryan as he got back to his feet. Now some pressure on Newcastle. Last play, they run it. Mullen might get caught. He gets it back on the inside to Richie Foso, who puts a kick in. Not a bad one, because it gives Uarte a chance. And the ball goes into touch. And it came off Newcastle.
Well, Newcastle, they're a man down and yet still found space on that left side of the field. Jared Mullen running the ball on last play. It was a courageous decision because they didn't have great field position, but he backed his ability. And then Foso kicks the football and Uarte was charging across. And they were lucky there, the Bulldogs. They just had nothing go their way. They just haven't had good play after good play after good play, the Bulldogs, as the ball rolls over the sideline. Couple of good plays, then something goes against them.
And that dive for the ball up against the sideline. Nanai has suffered an injury. It hasn't been a great night for outside backs on either side. Here's Turner.
Cooper's still down. Cooper's still down.
He has not moved. There he is, 10 metres out from the line. They can't get a trainer to him at the moment. They'll get one back there now. Here's Kamali. He's at the halfway line, and they are defending still with 12 men because Cooper Vuna is going from the field. It is some sort of cramp. And now Hekananai has also come off. He's gone down. Vuna can't go. Here's a kick. Taken on the full by Shannon McDonald at his own line. On to try and drive him back, but he stays in the field of play.
This is a big set of 6 coming up for both teams. The Bulldogs will be looking to get off their line and jam it into the Knights. So they're kicking from inside their own 20. Newcastle, they need good runs. Outside men need to get in there and help their forwards. Ennis making good contact there on Tola.
He was looking for a shot, wasn't he? 4 plays gone, Newcastle. Only 13 metres out from their own line. Here is Tua Mavabe. They'll be kicking from deep inside their own territory unless they elect once again to run it. Nadira thought about kicking it. Giro does. From just outside his own 20. The kick hangs in the air for Patton. He'll bring it back to the halfway line. Links up with Turner, who had Idris with him, but he hung on to it. They're back at them again, already in Newcastle territory. Idris it is. 8.5 minutes or thereabouts remaining. Ennis shows it to Mickey Payer. It's his second stint of the night. Standing in the tackle is so strong, and now a penalty to the Bulldogs.
2 or 3 times, then you pulled him down. Wait, there's your mark.
It's for Jason Robinson calling held, and then they dragged him to the ground, the referee said. They tap it quickly and go. Here's David Stagg. Trailed by 2 converted tries, Canterbury. Ennis to Hammond, charging and losing it. Good tackle by Matt Hilda.
And that's what we've been talking about. A penalty, they gain some momentum, look to gain that ascendancy, and all of a sudden something will go against them. But it's great tackle technique from Matt Hilda. Under the football, slippery conditions, the ball will come loose. And Matty Hilda filled in very well for Isaac De Gois. De Gois was the Newcastle Knights Player of the Year last year. I thought they may have missed his speed and creativeness around the dummy half area, but Matty Hilda's been very good tonight.
Let's go to Stuart Raper as the Knights working away from their own territory. A few injuries, Stuart, to report on right here.
Well, there are, and they're outside backs, which makes it very difficult on your rotation. You never look to lose outside backs within a game, but they've now lost two. Junior Sow, he's gone, his ribs, they suspect a broken rib. And now Cooper Vuna, who's got terrible cramps, he was actually stretching in the first half, so this is something that's involved in the game, is also gone. So they're going to have to stick some big boppers out of the left wing out there. I think Corey Patterson might be filling a hole in centres.
They've only got 7 or so minutes to hang on for here with a 12-point lead. They deserve this victory. The way they've played, given the circumstances, of course, in the off-season leading up to this opening game of the season.
Oh, they've been terrific. They've been tremendous tonight, the Newcastle Knights.
And there's a good tackle, no matter where he's playing. Corey Patterson storming down the field and crashing Ben Barber back to the turf.
Oh, their focus tonight's been terrific. All the little things of the game. The kick chase has been spot on. Plenty of people outside the organisation may have been writing them off, but there were 17 determined guys ready to come and play their best football tonight.
40-20 attempt here by Brett Kamali, but they will get back there and head it off at the pass, as it were. Wes Nguama bringing it back, being chased across the field. They'll get to him. Gordon was there to bring him to ground. About 7 metres out from the Newcastle line, but time now very much the enemy of the Bulldogs. Until they make that mistake, Newcastle. Ryan picks it up. He comes back to the middle. They'll charge for the line and just about get there through Mickey Paya. He is held up above the line. A terrific chance here for the Dogs. Ennis. He goes to Kamali. The spread to his right-hand side. He runs to them. Gives it to Turner, who is in for his seconds. And they are alive, the Bulldogs.
Stevie Turner grabs his second. They may well be alive, but this kick is very important from Michael Ennis. Kamali, across field, dummy, in between Patterson and Taya, and Turner finds himself unopposed to go and score in the corner. If he kicks this goal, the Bulldogs are a hope. With 5 minutes to go on the clock, I think it'll come down to this kick. It all revolves around this kick.
And again, it's up against the sideline. We're talking about Steve Turner scoring tries on debut. Guess what? When he scored on debut for Melbourne, we were talking about a moment ago, he scored 2. Here he is again. The kick is away to the right-hand side, and it stays an 8-point game.
It just deflates them that little bit. They were excited when the try was scored, and now they look up on the scoreboard, they're 8 behind. If it had been 6 behind, they're jumping out of their skins.
Let's go, Knights.
And now Newcastle slow to bring the ball back, winding down the clock, taking their time.
Stay behind
4 tries to 3 here at the moment, but the difference is 8. And they are urgent. The Newcastle bench. Ben Cross watching on. Thought he might have been knocked out of the game at one stage. Moments later he was up, carting it. An unbelievable run that scattered the Bulldogs defenders. Here's Kamali. Now who slid and floated to that right-hand side to finally sneak in behind them and link up with Steve Turner for his second try. Eileen Gordon bringing it back towards the 40. A chip and chase perhaps. A little something. Piece of magic from Kamali or maybe Barber, who was up there sniffing, looking for an offload, but he can't get one. Carry here by Mickey Paya, who plays it back into Newcastle territory. Here is Kamali. He goes in behind Hannington. Quick hands from Idris. Was it touched by Nguama? Yes, it was. And the Dogs get 6 more tackles. They're 42 metres out. And they've got just on 3 minutes remaining, but they trail by 8. Here's Roberts. They need to score in this set of 6 to be any chance. Here's Roberts, taken to ground eventually by Simpson and Mullen, and also Nadira. Ennis gives it to Gordon. And straightened on his run after looking to the right-hand side, just outside the Knights 30. Kamali going to the line. Long cannonball for Barber, who puts the foot down. Good tackle by Mullen. Back on the inside for Morris. It's all okay. And what a finish we've got coming up here.
Well, you called it. They had to score in the set of 6. The Bulldogs. They haven't gone to their left edge a lot in the second half. Is the foot on the line? I don't think it touches the line. I think it's in the air. He does a remarkable job to stay in field there, Ben Barber, and pass the ball back into Josh Morris. Mullen coming across. He has him by the ankle. Does he force it? I can't tell. I don't think it touches. I don't think it touches the ground.
I think the ball is in the air anyway, out of his hands by the time his foot comes back to turf. I don't think it matters. His left foot there inside, both feet in the air. No dramas. It's all okay.
Let's play on. Play on. And with 2.5 to go, I think the Bulldogs are back in it. Here comes the decision. Try.
Green lights for the Dogs.
Stand in front of him. He's going to kick it. He's going to kick late.
2.5 to go, and again, Michael Ennis up against the sideline. What a tough first game this is, replacing the great, the legend, Hazamel Magic. His kick hooks away to the left-hand side. There's 4 points the difference, but it's 4 tries all at the moment between the Knights and the Dogs. But the Dogs will try and go the length of the field to win the game.
Well, they have to. They have to. You would think unless they get a penalty or 6 to go, they will only have 6 tackles. Newcastle winding down the clock. Jason Robinson now is called timeout. So with 1:50 left, the Bulldogs, have they got something special? Have they been planning in the pre-season for this type of scenario? 1 set of 6.
Let's see what they've got. Roberts, he made the catch, and they work it forward through Mickey Payer, who is still driving and bringing it back to the 30-metre line. They start the set in good position. Here's Kamali going wide. Patton has some room to move. Now Jamal Idris, who's had a bad night with his hands, but suddenly he's unstoppable. He puts a kick in. Turner is chasing. The ball beats everybody, but not McDonald, who saves the day for Newcastle.
Unbelievable. The Bulldogs, I think he should have held the ball, Jamal Idris. I think he's come up with the wrong play there, but Shannon McDonald getting back and saving the day for Newcastle. The Bulldogs were complaining that Steve Turner was pushed in the back. Well, what about that?
It was a real roll of the dice with tackles up their sleeve, and it bounced for Turner. Jamal Idris would have been an absolute genius. Here's Patterson playing it for Giroux, who will kick. It was an afterthought. Nobody wanted it. He puts it in behind Patton. 30 seconds remaining, and he's 90 metres away, the general, from where he needs to be. He brings it back. He lost the ball in the tackle. There's a whistle for the knock-on, and Newcastle will cause an incredible upset here against the Bulldogs.
Well, what a great effort from the Newcastle Knights. Idris getting to the outside. Should have held the football. He kicks it. Turner's chasing. Bit of a push there from McDonald, but he's there. He collects the ball. Outstanding to get back there and retrieve that football for his team under pressure. That confirms the commitment that they've shown all night. They would have spoken about playing for the whole 80 minutes. And there's an example that if you do play for the 80 minutes and you're committed, you can get a result.